And welcome. You are tuned into Universal Broadcasting Network live at the LAX Hilton for the Los Angeles 2016 Conscious Life Expo. And I'm Dr. Marissa, your cheerleader for happiness 88% of the time, host of Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower studios and syndicated on CNBC News Radio Thursdays at 7 on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. And today we are roving live, we're on location, and I am so blessed and grateful to have not just Don Miguel Ruiz yesterday, and if you missed that, it will be rebroadcast, but I actually am bringing all the family in, and today I have Don Jose Ruiz. So without further ado, here he is. Hi! Yay! We get our. I have a little cheering going on in the background. Yes. So welcome on the air. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your presence with me. And for those of you who don't know, Don Jose Ruiz is the co-author of the Fifth Agreement. And I don't know very many people who don't know about the Fourth Agreement, but just in case, it is the mega bestseller that went 5 million copies sold, bestseller list for 7.5 years. And the Four Agreements has transformed my life, I know, and helped me also to raise my children. I adapted the Four Agreements for kids. So just a little review. What's your favorite agreement?
Well, my favorite agreement is to be impeccable with the word.
Be impeccable with your word. And from what I understand, that means not just being nice and kind to others, but most of all, kind to yourself.
Yes, and especially have faith and respect to the words that we speak out.
Okay.
Because then we understand what kind of messenger we are by hearing our own message.
Yes.
And something magically happens when we begin practicing the impeccability of the word, is that we begin thinking impeccably. And when you begin thinking impeccably, then it's so easy to apply the rest of the agreements.
That's great. And the second agreement, which is my favorite, don't take things personally. Yesterday I was blessed to go see a little bit of your presentation, and you were talking about the arrows being shot around from other people who are insulting you.
Yeah.
So what do you do when someone calls you stupid?
Well, I know that has nothing to do with me. When people do mean things to us or say horrible things to us or things to hurt us, they're really asking for help. Because it's like a mirror that wants to fight and gets in front of a mirror and wants you to fight too. But if you fight the tranquility, the peace in you, don't take on personal, that has nothing to do with you. So from this point on, I really realized that judgment is nothing more than an illusion. Because judgment exists before we're born, when we're alive, and after we're dead. So having that awareness, a conscious that judgment, affects our life, why even put 2 cents in it? It's an illusion, it's not real.
Right. But when people are just not smart, when they're acting not smart, I can forgive them and say, okay, I know you don't really mean what you say. But when you haven't done anything to someone, and then they turn around and gossip about you or say bad things about you, how do you not take that personally?
Well, it wants me to fit the world, take it personal. I feel it. Doesn't mean I don't feel it.
Okay.
But
so you can say, ouch,
yeah,
that hurts?
The ouch. But at the same time, I can see the story and how character wants me to use their story. And I will not allow that because it's not my story.
Okay.
I feel the ouch, but at the same time, I understand the forgiveness. Why? Because this world is sick. It's sick with addiction of suffering. And every time someone says something that means to us, they're really asking for help. Okay. So understanding the second agreement is really understanding forgiveness. And from this point on, you forgive everything that happens outside of you because it has nothing to do with you.
Right. It doesn't make you feel good. Now there are overly sensitive people who go run for the arrow that wasn't even shot at them, pick it up and then stab themselves and go ouch, 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 ouch. So that agreement also asks us not to suffer unnecessarily.
Yes, definitely, because that's why we say we're addicted to suffering, because we get pain that it's not really ours.
Right.
And sometimes we hear people laughing, and then we use that laughter thinking that we're laughing at us. So we're constantly using the outside world to hurt ourselves and make ourselves less than, because somebody probably told us when we were little that we're less than, and we really believe that. So it's really time to break the spell. So when we don't take things personal, it really allows us to go beyond any kind of uncomfortable fear and really to forgive ourselves for believing all those lies. And when you forgive yourself for believing all those lies, you forgive others. Then next time someone tries to make you react, you see them like kids playing with knowledge.
Right. Right. So third one, don't make assumptions. I've coined don't go to MSU University. Don't make shiitake up. Drop out of school, right? But I know, because I'm sensitive, that when someone looks like they're not happy with me, I immediately assume that they're not happy with me. So how do I stop doing that?
Well, the best way to say is to have communication, like you say did. The moment that you have a little doubt, a little feel, instead of making assumptions or creating a science fiction world that is not really real, you know, it's just to have the conversation and have a communication. And that's what we really fear in humanity, to have communication.
Right.
And this is why people gossip and be hatred and do all these negative things around us, is because they don't have the courage to communicate with what we feel.
Well, I'm feeling good right now.
Oh,
How are you feeling?
oh, very good.
Good, good. And then the last agreement, before the fifth agreement that we're going to talk about in your new book, actually it's not new anymore, but in your fabulous, the fifth agreement. But the fourth agreement, apparently, you told me, and actually Don Miguel also, is his favorite, right?
Yes.
Which is?
It's always do your best. And it's something magical, because with this agreement, like Father says, the other ones will not exist. Like, we do our best to be impeccable with the word, we do our best to not take it personally, and we do our best to not make assumptions. But this is the action that we have that really becomes a way of life.
Right, because I think a lot, especially Americans, especially type A plus people, they suffer from what I call the dis-ease of perfectionism. So because they don't do things perfectly, it's never good enough.
Yes.
Right?
And it has to do again with judgment, because, you know, you judge yourself and you never did it good enough. But what happens if you don't judge yourself anymore? You don't judge yourself for the things that you do. You know that everything you did was perfect. That's it.
Yeah.
That we're programmed to judge ourselves every time we do something.
Yes.
Even like, you know, do a presentation, says, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. But you know what? That was what it was that day, you know? I have to love all the children the way they're born.
Now, were you born with these agreements?
Well, no.
With your father, the author, and in the Toltec tradition, did you sort of walk in it?
Well, it was different, because when I was born and raised, my grandmother and my grandfather were in charge of the tradition, and it was a different fate. And then my father came into these agreements of himself to overcome his own negativity, to overcome himself. Those four agreements were made.
Okay.
So, and when my father made these agreements, I was in a part of rebellion all my life. Especially like my mother says, you know, we don't want my dad telling us what to do in a book. He already tells us what to do in real life, you know. But it came a point where it was a point of me suffering. One of my best friends passed away, and I really got that book. And I read it for the first time, and I don't hardly read books, but that book, I can say honestly, that's from beginning to end, I didn't put it down.
Right.
And when I finished it, I went to my father and I said, Father, I know this information. And he puts a big smile on his face. I said, of course you know it. Everyone knows it, because it's integrity talking to integrity. So this is the foundation that, you know, I grew up with my father, his integrity, that I always have to be careful what I ask him, because he's already taking action. That in a part when I was 16 years old, he gave me this birthday present, and I opened it so quick. And I thought it was the new Nintendo game, because they were pretty big back in the day.
Right.
But it was a picture of himself. Very serious with the eyebrow like that. And I asked him, why did you give me this, Father? He said, because when you do something negative in school or in the neighborhood, I don't have to know. You will know just by looking at this picture. And of course, you know, the years passed. I did something negative in school, in the neighborhood. And of course, I saw that picture, have to turn it around. But when my father was in a coma, after his heart attack, I looked at that picture from a different point of view. I saw the point of view that he really gave me was the gift of free consciousness, because that picture became my own face. I couldn't lie to myself. I couldn't, you know, go against myself. And this is the ultimate gift of the Toltec of enlightenment that I've ever received. Free consciousness, because when you have free consciousness, you're happy with whatever you do.
Right.
You're comfortable whatever you do.
You're comfortable in your own skin.
You don't take anything personally, because it has nothing to do with you. You're just living every moment grateful to be alive. And from this point on, you can really enjoy, you know.
And then when you do something, like let's say you do speak unkindly, so do you not feel guilty, or do you not feel bad about what you say?
I don't punish myself like I used to. Because before, when I was young, I was like the rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake is more dangerous when it's young, because it can't control its poison. And when I was young, I couldn't control my emotional poison. But as I grew and mature, I learned how to control my poison, like a rattlesnake does. So in enlightenment, you know, in awareness, is some people imagine that they don't have poison anymore, but they do. And like I do, but I know how to control it. And every time when someone like gets in front of me and I feel like, oh, I feel that, but said, you know what, come calm.
You calm yourself.
It's nothing, you know, you distract yourself.
Right.
And
right.
do everything. I love music, so I start playing music. I start creating art, you know, but something to
distract
yourself,
you.
Yeah.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
take a deep breath.
And it was like when I was a kid, parents used to hit children with the belts. And there was a commercial when I was a kid saying, before you hit a kid, count to 10. And, you know, as I grow up, you know, I know that people beat their kids up, but it's not the kid out, the little one, their body, their kids. They're beating them up, so before you beat yourself up, count to 10.
Okay.
Find a
So
peaceful-
internalize that.
Yes.
Internalize that. That's great. Was it difficult being Don Miguel's son? Because he's, you know, obviously very well revered, and yesterday he got the Lifetime Achievement Award, and he's the guru on the 4 agreements.
Well,
was there ever a time where you were like, please?
Well, no, because
And I'm saying this because of my own life, and I have 2 beautiful teenage daughters, and sometimes, you know, their friends really want to listen to me speak, but they don't want to.
Yes,
So
I understand that. But,
Yeah.
you know, but my father, he's a very loving being, you know. He's shape-shifting all the time to whoever is in his presence, you know. He always reflects the kindness and love.
Yes.
But I think I was more difficult being a son because of my rebellion, wanting to get his attention.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the middle
The
one.
middle.
Yes.
Okay. So you have how many kids altogether?
We're 3 of them.
3.
Yeah, my older brother, Miguel Ruiz Jr., is 40 years old. I'm 37. And my younger one is 30 years old.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So 3 boys.
Yes, but it was very interesting because we know see him as father, but then when he became my teacher, you know, it was a whole different point of view to seeing him, because I see him like a father in point of view, but I saw him as a teacher too. And everything he says to me, even though I reacted, you know, because it's easy to react to your parents,
Right.
but I meditated on what he was saying, and or during the time as it went going, he was telling me the truth. He was telling me to care. And it's something, you know, like when you get sick and you go to the hospital, the people who really care for you are going to show up.
Right.
So
right.
father words are like that, you know.
Right.
Wherever I go,
Right.
they show up, and I'm very grateful for that. But
That's
when
great.
I was growing up, I was rebellious, you know. I was
Okay.
running from myself, and of course I'm going to run from him too.
Right. Right. All 3 of you went through that stage,
Well,
or no?
I can only speak for myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Trying to get a little scoop here.
Yes.
Okay, let's move to the 5th agreement. So that's the book that you co-authored with your father, and here it is. And I think John's going to show it. Thank you. What is the 5th agreement?
The 5th agreement is to be skeptical, but learn to listen. And one time my friend says, Jose, being skeptical sounds a little negative. Why you say that?
Right.
Let me explain. Because it's not being skeptical in a social position that I'm more intelligent than anybody else. No. It's about being skeptical of our own negativity. If we say, I cannot change, no one loves me, I cannot do it, be skeptical to that. Don't believe yourself. You know?
I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I haven't done enough.
Yes.
Well, I'm never going to get ahead. So be skeptical of all of those critical voices that are in my head.
Exactly, because if it was doubt that got us into suffering, then doubt could get us back into heaven. Why? Because, you know, we don't believe ourselves. And this
Right.
is where I really made an agreement with myself that every day when I wake up, I will make a prayer. And it says, may life protect me from myself. And from this point on, I'm skeptical of my own negativity. So if I take it personal, if this part of this barrier kid wants to fight back, you know, it says, calm down, Jose. There's nothing. So I calm myself down. So whatever happens around, you know, even the office, you know, the gossip or the hatred or some paperwork didn't go as planned as I do.
Right.
Everything is perfect, Jose.
Right.
Don't lose your center.
Right.
And even though we have the reminder of losing it, it's just an automatic habit that we have. So in the 5th agreement, we talk about the messenger we are. And it comes with the Toltec teachings that is very simple. In the Toltec teaching, there's nothing to learn, but to unlearn. Everything that takes our inspiration away, because Toltec means artist.
I was going to ask, that was my next question. So Toltec is a way that your grandparents taught you how to live. Okay. And the Toltec way is the artist's way. So life, you are artists in your life. That's how I understand
Yes.
it. And you can create the canvas and the situations and the landscape for your own life.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yes, we create the altar, and we put the object, that is the physical body, in that altar.
Okay.
And-
And you said something that just went bing yesterday to me when you said that, now I just bing lost it here, but you were, oh yes, that it is not what we need to learn in life, it is what we need to unlearn in life, which is just mind-blowing, because as you were saying, most of us grew up with conditional love, right? I love you if you do this, if you get straight A's, if you clean up your room, if you do this well. I will love you in this relationship if you bring me flowers, if you talk kindly to me, if you make me dinner. And that kind of love gets us into trouble. So unlearning that conditional love is the key, right?
Yes.
To painting a life that's happy. How did I do?
Yes, very, very beautiful. Yes, like a true artist.
Yay! I get the artist award.
Yeah, because it's important to be loyal to the love of our life. It's like looking into the mirror.
But that sounds so selfish to say that I am the love of my life, right?
It sounds selfish, but it's the truth because we cannot give what we don't have. When I was in the love of my life, I was married. And I said to this person, I'm going to give you heaven and everything. I romanced her very good. And then I had a bad day 3 weeks later, and I come screaming at her. I took the gift away. And we do that all the time.
Right.
But if we are the love of our life, we can share our true selves. We can share our happiness. We will not share our poison. We will share our authentic self. Because what's more important, to be accepted by an image of a lie or be accepted by who we truly are? And when we live this way, the children are learning, but they learn not what we say to them. They learn how we live. So if we're always in integrity, they will always be in integrity.
Right.
If we are like fake it till you make it, they will be faking it till they make it too.
Right. So then that, I'm getting philosophical here. So you're saying then that as human beings, we're inherently good. We're not inherently, there's that question, are we inherently good or are we inherently evil? And so we have to try to be good. And not give in to our base, the evils,
Yes.
Whatever the lust or the power or whatever it is that brings us down. But what you're saying is that if we don't model for our children, or if we don't teach our children conditional love, then they can find the natural goodness that they are. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and a beautiful point to say is that if we don't domesticate our children, someone else will. So if you give all the love, you show the love, they will learn the good principles. Even if they resist, even if they go off their own, there will be a point when that echo will totally resonate in their minds, and they will say, "Okay, I feel the connection to the loved ones."
Right. So I'm going to go back to the background stuff. How come you got to write this book with your dad and not Don Miguel, your older brother?
Well, it was all an accident,
Oh, really?
Because when my father was in coma, he had teachings 20 years before that called angel training, which is messenger training. But he said, I feel like I'm talking to the wall. Everybody wants baby steps. Everyone wants ABC. Everybody needs the crutches. So he started doing little different work. When he was in coma, I got into those tapes. And I began listening to them and said, Father, I'm not a wall. I'm going to listen to these tapes. So I began listening to the angel training teachings, the messenger training, and I began learning them, understanding them, and then I began sharing them because there's nothing to understand more when you begin sharing them. And in this sharing, there was no teacher, or gurus, or shaman teaching it. We were all as one family learning it in the angel trainings. And Father, when he came out of the coma, he asked me, what are you doing with your life? And I told him I was sharing angel training. He said, oh, sure, I would like to see that. So when he went, she said, people are understanding, and what do you do different? It's because you're inspiring me, Father, because when you went into a coma, you started a course called Dreaming, and you were in the 2nd year when you got your heart attack. What happens to the rest of the years? What happens to the next of the training? So I said to myself, if somebody's going to understand the Toltec tradition, I'm going to give them the whole architect plan of the Toltec tradition. No A, B, C, no 1 year, 2nd year, no. Whoever's going to get it is going to get it. And this was happening, so my father loved it that he began sharing with me, and then we were sharing together. I never really dreamt about teaching with him.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the publicist comes to see us and says, hey, you guys, this is the 5th agreement, and this needs to be published. The world needs to know.
Okay.
And this is how it came about.
Okay. So it wasn't a sit down and say, okay, which one of you wants to do this?
Oh, no. It was more about honor,
That's
and
great.
In that moment, I was ready to be grateful. Especially seeing my father in a coma.
Yes, that must have been. Were you afraid?
Oh yes, I was afraid. I was afraid when I went to the hospital.
Yes.
I was fearful. First thing I said, Daddy, crying, you cannot leave me, please, Daddy, don't die. And he was happy to see me. Still having a heart attack. He was not being attended yet. And when I started crying in front of him, that smile was gone, and it was the straight face that he gave me on the picture.
The picture.
Yes. And he asked me, is this the way you're going to celebrate the death of your father, son? Is this the way you're going to celebrate the death? Get out of this room and fix yourself, he said to me. And that moment, I was shocked because I was ready to hear a pat in the back.
Yes,
and I said, oh my God, I saw my selfishness.
Wow.
The selfishness that I was going to take away the last moment of his life, saying, Father, look how I'm suffering. This is how you go home. Wow. And not only that, the selfishness that I'm going to use his death to hurt myself with. And he's not even dead yet, and I begin doing it. Oh. And that moment I said, you know, if I could imagine something, I imagined that I was dying, you know, and I died, and my father doesn't want to write books anymore. He doesn't want to go in presentations. He just wants to be in an apartment, depressed. If I could speak to him, what my words would be. And my father's a great teacher that I felt it right away. He says, he's good. I'm telling that to myself. Yeah. Don't hurt yourself with the death of your father. So I ran to the emergency room and grabbed his hand and said, I'm with you now, Father. I'm with you now. How can I ever repay you for everything you teach me? And he says, easy, my son. Help me to change the world inside your mind. Every time you think, you know, that you cannot do it, every time you think you're not perfect, that no one loves you, when someone says mean things to you, just know that they're in pain. Just, you know, this is the best way you can repay me, son. And I said, I will, Father. And I grabbed his hand, and he said to me then, now move along because there's more people I have to talk to before I go home. And, you know, and from that point on, it's the teachings of being skeptical, it's the teachings about unlearning how I go against myself. And we all have our way of corrupting ourselves, you know. Like in this last year, I lost 80 pounds. People say I couldn't do it, but I started listening to my body. The foods that I used to love mentally, not physically, I got rid of, you know, and this is the whole thing about opening the heart. And I tell you, we're meant to open our heart. This is why we suffer in life, because we are programmed to not open our hearts, that it's bad, conditional love, that we're not, but the moment that you open your heart, you know that's what's meant to do. It's like a little pig, you know, in the farms, you know. It's meant to run in the fields. Right. It's not meant to be in a little metal thing and growing and not can't even move and not seeing their babies. Bacon. Yes. It's not, that's not the life. And this is what we're becoming. Right. This is what we're becoming because we cannot express our heart.
Sit in front of the TV, don't really do anything, are in jobs that we don't enjoy, and really not living.
Yes, sacrificing ourselves in relationships,
not happy
hurting
in
ourselves.
relationships.
Yes, and thinking that tomorrow is going to be better, but that tomorrow will never come because the moment this decision that you open your heart right now, this is the time of your life. Why wait for tomorrow to happen? Why wait for the future of heaven? No, it's right now. Unlearn everything that's keeping you from that.
Wow.
And have a voice, and this is where the fourth agreement comes into place.
Yes.
Take action.
Yes. You and your father can make me cry like nobody's business. You touch my heart with your words, and you totally... you know, it's interesting, I'm sure everybody compares, you know, Don, are you going to measure up or in the world, not that you care what they think, but what I got when you were talking was just, you know, it's like, it's not a comparison, but it's yet another level of what you are bringing through the Toltec tradition in the words and the fifth agreement, and a way to, I mean, it's just about loving yourself. I mean, if I could synthesize your message, your father's message, like finding out that the love that we've been looking for our entire lives is the love for ourselves. And that is such a gift. That is such a gift. And that's beautiful that you are not just following, but carving your own path. Thank you. 谢谢.
Oh, thank you.
谢谢. Your grandmother, I didn't get a chance to talk about your grandmother with your father. She sounds like one beautiful, powerful woman. Is she still here? Is she on the other side?
She left us 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
She was 98 years old.
98. Okay.
She was an old school curandera from Mexico. And she went doing what she loved to do. A healer.
A healer, okay, thank you.
She's a
little rusty on my Spanish.
So, you know, she just loves, her power was her faith, her love. Her faith in her word, her faith in her love. And when she went home, when she passed, she went to see somebody in the hospital, in ICU, and make a healing. And on her way back home, she had a stroke. So she loved doing what she loved to do. Wow. And that's why she said, you know, we're never going to retire. Because we're always going to be the human that love what we do, no matter what we do, but this is what we're here with life for. But yeah, she was an amazing, strong woman, and I used to love it, you know, when she just petted me and she pulled me hair, and she's my little Indian boy. It's like I miss her, but I know
You've always had long hair with her?
Since I left high school, and I could let my hair grow, that was it. Yeah, but it's always in our heart, and that's the beautiful thing. She always said to us, the true healers are the ones that can heal themselves from their own lies. Because when you heal yourself from your own lies, it's like you create your own illnesses. And then from this point on, you can heal yourself with love. And accept whatever life gives to you.
Right.
With love.
That's beautiful. So what would you tell the listeners, anyone who's tuning in now or later, what's the truth about life? What is the truth about them? What is the truth about why they're here?
Well, I can only speak for what I know, not for what they know, because they have their own truth.
Okay.
But my truth, the reason that I'm here alive is to take care of Jose. Why? Because I know what makes Jose happy, and I know what makes Jose suffer. And how do I know this? Is because I am Jose, like you are you. And from this point on, I'm here to take care of me. Because when I take care of me, I can take care of my loved ones. I won't give them the negative Jose. I will give them the happy Jose, the positive Jose, the inspirational Jose. But most of all, I will live this way. And this is a beautiful thing because I know that we're here in life to make a masterpiece of art with it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is there anyone that you would like to do a love peace shout out to? I usually do that with my guests to publicly say thank you to, or to express gratitude for.
I would like to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters who are doing everything in their world, in their love, to battle this corruption that we have inside. Because when we battle the corruption that we have inside, the corruption outside will be dealt with. And just by loving our body, I say thank you because we all work for the same boss, and till we go home,
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor, for everything.
It's been wonderful having you. It's been wonderful being able to chat. I'm going to award you the same award that I did for your father, which is Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award. Thank you for all that you do. Continue what you do. And you are inspiring, and you are true to you, and I am grateful for that. Peace and blessings to you. Sister. Oh, thank you. And that's it for right now. I will be back at 3 o'clock with Master Shaw, who's done healings on Roberta Flack and Dr. John Gray, another past guest of mine. This is Universal Broadcasting Network, and we're not out of the Sunset Gower studios today. We're broadcasting live from the Conscious Life Expo in the LAX Hilton. So peace in, peace out, and tune in later for Dr. Marissa at 3 p.m. Thanks for being here and joining us, and peace in and peace out.